All right, guys, welcome to our YouTube channel. Today, I'm gonna talk about how you can actually lose weight, train like an athlete, and actually take off some of that belly fat that you've been struggling to lose for the past 3 to 6 months. It's extremely important for you guys to get your body in shape, and I know how important that is. My name is Dr. Natty Vanasak. We work with high-level athlete, competitive adults, someone like you who are actually looking to get in shape and stay pain-free, because that is the main goal. So let's get right into it. All right, so let's go over the number one thing, why most diet fail. Most diet fails because it's unsustainable. You probably know your friend or someone that you work with, your coworker that say, hey, I'm on this diet, I'm losing a bunch of weight, and then next thing you know, you see them again 3 months later, they balloon back up to the same weight. It's because they're diet hopping, right? That means they're either doing keto, they're going to paleo, they're going low carb, they're going high fat. So all this stuff is really good for short term, but it's not long term. There's no long term sustainability. So the one thing is I always recommend is pick the eating habit that you know you can stick with. For me personally, I'll share my own story. So I've lost literally like 30 pounds and I was able to keep that off the whole time, right? What I do as a physical therapist, my body is active all the time, but I was not able to lose weight because I was really inconsistent with what I was eating, right? The number one thing I started doing is I started eating in ways where my body responds the best, which means I know that I need to have high protein, I need to have carbs before and after my workout, right? And I also need to have carbs, not as much, especially right before I go to bed, right? So that the next day when I wake up, I'm not as hungry and I'm not binge eating right after I wake up, right? So these are something that I personally find useful and I'm gonna share that with you. So the one most important thing that a lot of people talk about, but they don't really do it well, which is understand calorie deficit, right? Calorie deficit means that your body is actually burning more calorie than it is consuming. Now, some people take it to the extreme where they're literally not eating anything at all, right? What happens with that is that you'll lose weight, but also you'll lose muscle. And it's important that you don't lose muscle, because once you lose muscle, you're actually basal metabolic rate or your metabolism is actually gonna go lower, right? So the higher muscle mass you have, the higher basal metabolic rate you're gonna be, and the more higher metabolism you're gonna be. So you're gonna burn calories throughout the day more if you have more muscle mass, right? Now, the biggest drawback, if you know your friends or anyone that's taking drugs like Ozempic, like they're losing weight, but they're also losing muscle, right? And because of that, they just kind of look a little bit flappy rather than full and defined and cut, which everyone want that kind of look. So understand calorie deficit, right? So what that means is that you get a simple app like MyFitnessPal, something that can track your calories, right? And you just go and figure out, okay, hey, how much do I really need to eat throughout the day, right? So for me, I weigh around like 165, 170. So I'm gonna make sure I prioritize my protein intake, right? I want 1 gram per body weight for my protein. So I'm gonna make sure I get 170 grams of protein per day. Now, the next thing I'm gonna do is my carbohydrates, right? I normally just like the same thing, 1 gram per body weight. So around 170, or sometimes I have a higher workout and I spend more calories that day, I might push it to 200. And then the fats, that's where you kind of fill in the gap, right? So if you use like that app like MyFitnessPal, it'll recommend you what your calories you need to be to lose 1 pound a week, which is a healthy way to lose weight and sustainable. And then I just fill the gap with my fat. So if I got my protein, 1 gram per body weight, my carbs, 1 gram per body weight, and then the rest to fill my calories, which is around like 18 to 1900 calories, I'm gonna get that from fat, right? Or if I have a day where I'm going out to eat, right, and I'm gonna consume something that's higher in fat, I'm gonna lower my carbohydrate, right? So it's just it's like playing Tetris, right? You wanna find something that fits and that works for you. So you're not starving yourself, you're not restricting yourself, which is why diet fail, like I mentioned before, because you're restricting yourself. By the time you reach your goal, you have this notion where like, oh, I've reached my goal, now I'm just gonna binge, and now I'm gonna balloon back up. So it's a big endless cycle, so I don't want you to do that. And again, I give this same talk to every single one of my athletes and our competitive adult, because it's really important to feed your body the right way and to also have positive body image, right? So this is why it's important to understand calorie deficit. Number 2, extremely important, again, most people would not tell you this and they overlook this, which is strength training, right? again, female clients I work with, especially female athlete or fit moms that we work with, they tend to really have a hard time understand why strength training is important. And I'll tell you why. Number one, strength training will actually help you burn more calories because you incorporate total body. If you're doing lunges, if you're doing squats, if you're doing deadlifts, right? Anything require total body movement, multi-joint movement, you're gonna burn more calories, right? So I always incorporate like a squat day, a deadlift day, or a push and pull day, which could be bench and row, right? Those are working multiple muscle group at the same time. Now, if you're just doing isolation muscle group, if you're just doing your bicep, your tricep, your knee extension, your leg curls, those are good, but it's not the best. What I like to do, I like to have the best of both worlds. So I would incorporate total body movement. Let's say I would do a squat, then I would do my hamstring curls, I would do my knee extension, I would do my lunges, right? So you can kind of station it that way, right? So when you start doing strength training, you're gonna have more muscle mass and you're gonna burn more calories. Second thing, an absolute life hack, strength training will help you boost your bone density, right? Now, I don't know if you guys know the statistic, but if you are over the age of 65 and you're a female, you are at risk of osteoporosis or osteopenia, where your bone is much weaker. And if you end up having a fall and break your hip, you only have 1 year mortality rate, which means if you fall and you break your hip, there's a chance of you not making it alive after the following year. This is why bone density is also extremely important. The higher your muscle mass you have, the higher your bone density you have, the less likelihood you are gonna die. That's literally the research. So this is why strength training is extremely important. And you can incorporate strength training in less than an hour, right? My typical workout is usually 45 minutes to an hour at most. I just pick the one main thing I wanna do, which is, let's say, for example, let's say I wanna do squat today. I would do my warm up, my stretches, which take 5 to 10 minutes. Then I would definitely get into my squat and I would do 4 sets, 3 sets, depending on how many volume I want. And then from there, I would just go into accessory exercise, which could be walking lunges, could be knee extension or leg curls, right? Something as simple as that doesn't take that long. You just need a plan that you can stick through and then just do it for a long time. I've been on the same program, I kid you not, guys, literally for the past 3 years. And I just cycled through the same program, different block for the past 3 years. Okay, so that's why strength training is extremely important. Next one, let's talk about cardio, because when it comes to weight loss, everybody say, I need to do more cardio. I need to do more cardio. But guess what? You can do too much cardio and you can have burning your muscle, which is also not good, right? So we want to find the right type of cardio that you want to do, right? The number one thing that you can do to burn your body fat when it comes to cardio is called zone 2 cardio. What does that mean? So your heart rate varies from zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Zone 1 is like pretty much your resting heart rate. You're just walking and talking, right? Zone 2 is where your heart rate is between 60% of your max heart rate to 70% of your max heart rate, right? And that zone 2 is the most efficient zone to be in to burn fat. Because when you're in zone 2 cardio, your brain sends a signal to your body to say, hey, we're in zone 2 cardio, we're actually gonna use the belly fat that's storing our body to use as its energy, right? So what a hack. Now, this is where everybody gets it wrong, is they think that they need to be in a higher zone, zone 3 or 4. This is where, if you go to Orange Theory, they're gonna push you to like go to the orange zone, which is zone 5. Now, this is where it's getting really tricky, because zone 5, I call it like a dead man zone, right? Because when you go zone 4 and zone 5, your body actually uses carbs, glucose, glycogen, that's stored, to actually use as energy, right? Because it's easier to break down, right? So by the time you finish your workout at Orange Theory, or you go for like a hard run and you're sweating, you're like, oh my God, I feel like I have such a good workout. The next thing you're gonna feel is that I'm hungry and I want a bowl of pasta or a bowl of rice, because your body try to replenish all the glycogen and the carbohydrate that you just burn, right? So it's counterintuitive especially if you want to lose body fat, right? So if you want to lose that belly fat, you want to go zone 2 because you're using the fat that you have already. It gets broken down and then use that as your main source of energy, right? That's like going to a gas station and then rather than putting gas, you put water. It doesn't work, right? You want to use the right fuel for the right task. So zone 2 cardio at less than between 70% of your heart rate to 60% of your heart rate for 45 minutes for twice or 3 times a week at most. That's it. That's all I do, right? If I go for a walk, I put on a weighted vest, right? Or I walk a little bit faster. If I'm on a bike, I make sure I don't go, my heart rate doesn't go too high. I want to stay in that zone 2 the whole time. Everybody have Apple Watches that you can track what your heart rate, where your heart rate is at. So use that to your advantage. So that's it with cardio. Do not go over zone 2. Zone 2 is where you want to be. Next one, let's talk about quality of food, right? Because you can't talk about losing weight without talking about quality nutrition, right? So when I first started, before I became a PT, I was a personal trainer and I was a certified nutritionist. The biggest thing that people always talk about is like, oh, you know, you just eat whatever you want, right? Your body would just, you know, find a way to make it work, right? That's true when you're younger, when your metabolism is skyrocket, like you have high testosterone, you have, you know, things are just going well, right? But now I'm heading towards my 40s, things are a lot different now. I cannot do that anymore. So what I really focus on, I focus on food that actually high nutrient, right? So I would go to Whole Food with my wife. We'll make sure we get food that's organic. We'll make sure that we have food with high fiber, right? Make sure we get food that actually have low refined sugar, refined carbohydrate, and high in protein. So when you start eating something that's actually have high fiber, high protein, the one thing you're gonna notice is you're gonna feel full, right? If you go ahead and you eat something that's high carbohydrate, refined carbohydrate, like cake or cupcake, right? What that does to your body is actually it gets broken down so fast. You have all this rush of blood sugar into your bloodstream, then it sends signal to your brain to release insulin, and then that's when you start getting the itis, when you start wanting to fall asleep, or you end up over consuming more because you kind of open the gate to just have a bottomless pit where you want to consume more and more carbs, right? So having nutrient dense food, wholesome food, that's really good. Another thing that you can do when you have these kind of food is you want to make sure you're eating at appropriate time. What I mean by that, right? We have people who like to do intermittent fasting where they fast till like 4 in the afternoon. Great, but make sure when you are breaking fast, you're not consuming refined carbohydrate as the first thing. You don't want to have a cupcake right after you break fast because that's going to trigger a hormonal response where you want to eat more. If anything, you want to start out with, you know, salad, something that high fiber, so that way it's actually, you feel full, right? And then consume some protein along with some carbs, right? That's the best way. I never go carb first, I'll go salad first, high fiber first, or high fat first, then some protein, because I'm actually gonna feel full right after that, right? So this is a very simple thing that you can do. It doesn't require much. I'm not trying to tell you guys to change your whole life around. I love going out to eat. I love going on date night, and I love enjoying food. I'm a big foodie, right? So we want to be able to enjoy the food that we like, but we also want to make sure we reach our goal. So that's why having high quality nutrition, knowing when to eat, the timing of the food, and all you have to do is just make sure you go salad, protein, and carbs together. That's a simple thing. Another pro tip, sleep and recovery. Right? So when people are on this journey and they want to lose weight, they feel like that they have to go all out all the time, right? You guys probably saw this challenge called like the 75-day heart, right? Where you end up just doing a workout every single day for 75 days. You drink a gallon of water, you pick a diet you stick through, and everyone have incredible transformation from this, right? They'll lose so much, they get so lean, but then ask them what happened in the next 75 days. They're just going back to where they were because, again, it's not sustainable. And here's what happened. When you're working out so much, your body needs to recover, right? Every time you guys do a workout, there's a little micro damage into your muscle. That micro damage needs to actually recover to build up, to build more muscle. Same thing that happened with your bone density. When you're working out, your bone kind of break a little bit, not really, but it creates some sort of stress into the bone. So the bone needs to remodel, just like your tissue needs to remodel, working out is a stress. Stress increases cortisol. Cortisol increases inflammation. And if you don't have time to sleep, you can't get good night of sleep that at least 7 hours, you're not gonna feel recover, right? And then you're gonna overreach, and then you're gonna overtrain, right? And then you're gonna lose motivation. And that's the same cycle again. So something that I started doing within the past year that it's been helping my sleep so much is I have a journal next to me. I journal everything down on my day of how great it was, right? So you show a little gratitude there. And then I also write down what I needed to do the next day. So that way I'm not pondering around when I'm sleeping. I also dim the light an hour before. I like to read, so I usually go with my Kindle. My Kindle is literally just the white paper one where like the light's super low, there's no blue light there. So that way I can fall asleep. And then after I journal and I read, I fall asleep great, right? One big hack, I would say, stay hydrated right before you go to bed, right? You might have to get up to go pee, but that's okay. But hydration is huge because you don't want to wake up from your sleep and be dehydrated, right? Because now your body depleted of water and we don't want that, right? So that's part of my, sleep and recovery routine, right? Another thing that I like to do, this again, costs $0, but also gonna help you, jumpstart your metabolism is taking a cold shower, right? I would take a cold shower every day. I spend 3 to 5 minutes in there, right? Once you get cold exposure, your body actually starts cooling down. Now, as soon as you get out of the shower, your body has to actually warm itself up. Dr. Andrew Huberman talked about this, like cold plunge, cold exposure, because what it does is actually kind of ignite your body temperature early in the morning to pretty much kickstart it. So now throughout the day, you can not only have more energy, you're gonna be more awake, and you don't have to rely on caffeine as much, right? So that's another pro tip I have for you guys. So let's get on to the last one. Last but not least, probably the most important one, that's why I save it here, consistency and being patient, right? One way to stay consistent is to measure yourself backward. And the best way to measure yourself backward is to step on a scale, right? I often step on the scale every single day. I step on the scale every single day so that way I know where I'm at, so I can make good decisions for the day. And if I have a day where I feel like, how did I just gain a pound? But even though when I look at my, my app, I didn't eat anything different, it's also showing me that your weight can fluctuate, and that's okay. So that's why it's always good to not have a goal weight, but have a range of weight that you want to be in. So I know for me, where I like to be is between 164 to 167, right? That's my good range where I can still fit in the suit that I have. If you get custom suit, that costs a lot of money. So that's a really good incentive to stay in the same weight range. So, right, you have a range that you're okay with. You step on the scale to see where you're at today, right? That's like checking your gas tank every morning before you drive to work. You want to know how much fuel you have, right? And then from there, you say, okay, hey, I'm training in the right way. Great, let me keep doing what I'm doing. So it's a really good positive reinforcement to do the things you've been doing. Now, another thing you can do is take progress picture, right? You can take this every week. You can take this every 2 weeks, but I highly recommend you document your progress picture because you're gonna see the changes that your body is going through, and you're gonna feel really excited for that, right? So we only take progress picture when we try to lose weight. Now imagine if you take progress picture when you try to gain weight, your body will not allow you to gain that much weight. And in your brain, you'll be like, you know what? I'm going in the wrong direction. I don't want to go there, right? So taking a progress picture is a huge thing to make sure you stay consistent and stay patient. Last but not least, we're talking about you having to find a way to work out. The way I structure my day, and my day is hectic. Like I get up at 5:30, sometimes I don't get home till 9, right? But the first thing I do when I look at my calendar of what I have going on in the day or in this week, I plan my workout first thing. So I wake up, I look at my schedule and I see, okay, how many patients am I seeing today? How many meetings do I have? I say, okay, when am I working out? So I then put that as, I was like, I'm working out at 2 p.m. this time, non-negotiable. I pack all my gym stuff, my gym bag, so that way I know I can't cop out if I'm feeling tired or something like that, or something getting away, I have a hard stop because this is a time where I actually need to take care of myself. And it's also gonna make you feel good because you're taking care of yourself. You're not putting everybody else first. And all the parents that we work with, that's the biggest thing. They feel guilty when they set up goals and they don't get to do those goals. So instead of feeling guilty, you just have a literally boundaries that you set up and say, hey, I'm actually gonna make sure I work out this time, this day. I plan my workout first, then I plan my meal around my workout. For example, if I'm working out at 2, I know an hour before, I probably wanna eat, or 2 hours before I wanna eat. I wanna have like 50 grams of carbs before I work out, and then I'm gonna plan my meal after my workout for, let's say, another 50 grams, right? Because you need carbs to replenish all the thing that you, like, to replenish all the energy system that you just actually expend during your working out, right? That's part of the recovery. So if you plan your workout, you plan your 2 big meals around your workout before and after, that's right in there. Take care of 2 meals that you have. And now the last thing is you have to fill the gap on what am I gonna eat for dinner or what am I gonna eat for breakfast, which make your day a lot easier. So that way you can control, right? If you can control your schedule, you can control your workout, you control the way you eat, you're gonna stay consistent and you're gonna win every single time. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, this is something that I have learned within the past, 20 years being in fitness industry and also being a physical therapist that work with pro athletes and fit parents. And I just want to share this with you so that way you can have a transformation for yourself and you can sustain that throughout your whole journey. So that way you don't have to hop from diet to diet. Now, if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share this video to your friend. If you're new to this channel, we have so many videos for you. So the first one you can do, the number one thing actually is to stay pain-free. So that way you can work out. So check out our upper body warm-up, so that way you can stay pain-free, especially shoulder, back, and neck. And you can check out our lower body warm-up if you have knee pain, hip pain. That's something gonna actually help you solve that pain problem right then and there. So you can keep on working out and keep losing weight. So I'll see you guys next time.